and welcome to Who Corner to Corner podcast. My name is Geoff, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend Paul, who's going to interrupt me any second now.
Any second now. Yes, that's what I do. It's what I do best, Geoff. I'm good at that. I have skills with a Z.
Like the kids with a Z.
Oh, now my printer works. Look at that. It's been waiting. I've been queuing that for 20 minutes. Now it works. Well, it's made a chugging noise anyway. There you go. You two carry on. I'll just sort my printer out over here.
Whilst Paul deals with his misbehaving printer, I'll introduce our guest tonight. So we're joined by Lisa McMullin, who is a name that is probably recognisable to many Big Finish listeners. Good evening, Lisa.
Hi, I'm a bit terrified.
Well, my printer. Don't be scared. It's all good. You're in good hands, Lisa.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, not bad, not bad. I've been raging on Twitter a bit today, but otherwise, marvellous, yeah.
Oh, Twitter's brilliant for that. There's nothing like a good old rage to get the blood boiling on Twitter.
All I do on it is Doctor Who and angry political stuff.
Yeah, quite right.
I need to get into kittens or something.
Oh, to try and relax or to eat them? I don't know. What's relax, presumably.
Whatever would work, I suppose. I don't advocate eating kittens.
I don't eat kittens, by the way. They're too tough.
He says, based on experience. So,
shocking, Geoff.
Was it a productive and successful day of angry tweeting?
Well, I don't know about productive. It wasn't productive for my writing, but
well, I was going to say, if you felt better at the end of it, then that's somewhat productive, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so like Paul said, we've got a number of questions for you, and thank you for joining us to chat tonight. So let's kick it off with a really difficult one. Why don't you tell us about yourself and what you do?
That's the one to start with.
This is the worst question in the world, though, isn't it?
Who am I? Where am I?
Who would write a question like that, Geoff?
Oh, that was yours.
Yeah. I'm a writer, used to be a teacher. Got into writing because I didn't realise it was an option as a career when I was growing up. I wanted to be an actor. I was a terrible, terrible actor. Really, really appalling. So I only did that for a couple of years and then didn't know what else to do with a drama degree. I became a drama teacher and then a writer. And now I write for various telly things, Big Finish, anything people will pay me to do, basically.
You have written...
Writing-wise.
Writing-wise, yeah. I mean, you have written for quite an impressive number of shows, haven't you?
Yeah,
Casualty,
you really have,
EastEnders, just to name but a few.
I'm not very good at saying no. This is the problem.
Quite right. Yeah.
Because I'm terrified nobody will ever ask again. So if anybody says, "Will you?" Immediately before they've even finished the sentence, I'll say yes. Yes, I'll do that.
I was going to ask, is that
bring it on?
Is that the kind of self-employed freelancer media mentality? I have a little bit of that with my filming work. Project comes in, I'll do it, and because you never know what may or may not be coming next, do you? And
well, exactly, yeah.
And do you find it hard to say no because of that kind of fear, or just because you like working and you like
I mean, I do enjoy the work, but I could do less of it. And I might enjoy that. I had a holiday for the first time last year, first time in ages, and a week without my laptop, and it took a couple of days to get used to it.
Did you find your fingers, doing this?
Your fingers,
there should be some buttons here,
Yeah. So your brain's making things up still, but there's nowhere for it to go.
Yeah, no.
Just running around in circles, right? It's like a wall of motorbike in a wall of death thing.
So I've already got another question to ask you before I get on to our second one. So that's really interesting that you were a teacher and didn't realise that writing was a career option. So what took you from teaching, and how did you make that discovery that then got you into the writing world?
So my whole life I'd spent with scripts because I was teaching them. It didn't occur to me that somebody had written them.
Yes, it did. Come on.
as a job. But a friend of mine that I went to drama school with, who was still trying to be an actor, he asked me to write a play so that he could be in something, because acting is almost worse than writing in terms of employment. So I wrote a little play and we co-produced it in a pub theatre.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, oh, this is better than teaching.
Yeah, this is fun.
So I gave up my job without really thinking about it. And then suddenly went, okay, I want to be a writer, but I have no idea how to go about that in terms of making it a living. But hey ho. Never look back.
Yeah, so sometimes you've got to take that leap, haven't you? I think if you're in a position where you can go for it like that, and it's not sort of too risky, perhaps, as you get older and you.
It was totally risky. I mean, if I'd known then how risky it was and how difficult it would be, I don't know if I'd have done it. So it's probably just as well that I just leapt with mindless enthusiasm.
If you don't mind me asking, how old were you when you did it? Because obviously the later you get in life and you've got a mortgage and kids and stuff like that, it's harder to take that kind of leap of faith, isn't it? But
yeah, I don't have children that I'm aware of, so that helps enormously. I did have a mortgage though, because I kind of had an inkling that I was going to be getting out of the teaching game, and so I got a mortgage while I still had a reasonable
a secure job, because they don't like it. I remember when I went, they don't like it when you're self-employed, do they?
They don't like it, Geoff.
Really don't.
They don't like it.
They
don't want to know.
They asked me repeatedly if I'd consider going back to
teaching.
Oh, really? Please go back to teaching.
I remember when...
So you... Oh, go on, Geoff.
No, it's all right. No, it's fine. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, so your first kind of published piece, performed piece was in a pub as a play. Where did you go from then? I mean, obviously, was that the point when you decided I'm going to take the plunge literally after that first script without any idea of what you're going to do next?
Yeah,
that's amazing. That really is.
I applaud that. That is some bravery. Well done.
Yeah, generally.
Bravery, stupidity.
Well, I think you need a dash of both, really, don't you, for it?
Yeah.
I've just got too much of one and not the other.
Yeah, and we'll leave the viewers and listeners up to decide which. And don't answer that about me.
No. Sorry, Lisa, you were saying I had to put you right off there.
What was the question?
I forget.
So how?
Oh, where did I go
yes,
from?
yeah.
So I started writing spec scripts, entering competitions.
Oh, okay.
Just flinging stuff around, and just blagging my way into things. My whole career is mainly the result of just sheer cheek and nerve. I entered this Waterloo Road before it went off. I was doing some sort of competition thing to find new writers, which I applied for even though I'd not done anything. I lied basically, because you were meant to have writing credits and I didn't. I mean, why not?
What's
the worst that's going to happen?
It's just creative writing on your resume, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And when I was there, I met a guy called Richard Dinnick who told me he'd been writing Doctor Who stuff, and I went, oh my gosh, that's my ultimate ambition and dream. And so we got chatting. Yeah. And through him, I then met Matt Fitton.
Oh, okay.
So I went to birthday parties, and I've told this story a million times, but I just basically staggered up to him drunk at a succession of different gatherings and begged until he said, well, send me a spec script.
Go on. Oh, that's brilliant.
And alongside that, I was trying to get agents and stuff, and I finally got an agent. And but it's just half of it
Yeah,
is
it
luck.
is.
It's
Yeah, and who you know
pure
to an
chance.
extent, and I think for any writers and want to be writers who are listening, I think there's quite a bit that they can take from that. That you obviously had an understanding of writing, but hadn't kind of got. Well, you did, but you were teaching and you didn't necessarily do a kind of degree in it all and all of that kind of stuff. And my point is that
Well, I did a degree in drama,
yeah,
which is. But you're right. That didn't occur to me that is what I studied.
yeah, and you can. Because funny enough, I'm doing a talk at my local college on Friday about trying to get work in filming, and I've been sitting there writing all the possible kind of avenues, going to a big company like BBC or someone who makes Line of Duty or something like that, or Paul's Printers going crazy there, or freelancing as a cameraman or a sound man, or setting up your own company. There's quite a few different options, but they said to me, do you think going to uni is a necessity? And I was like, not after my experience at uni. But anyway, my point is you can get in, like you said, with a little bit of luck, a little bit of kind of sheer kind of drive for it, and who sometimes. And once you start making contacts, it can lead places, can't it? And obviously you've got to be good at what you're doing.
Sometimes you've got to make who you
yes.
know. I didn't know anybody when I started, so you've got to. It's making the most of any opportunities that you
absolutely.
get.
I remember. In the days really before the internet and email was what it is now, going around in this is going to sound all kinds of wrong, but going around Soho, going around Soho, knocking on doors.
Okay.
Boy, that was.
I mean, you got to earn a living. That's all I'm saying.
But going around because that's where a lot of stuff is based, isn't it? And
of course it is. Yep, absolutely, mate. That's exactly what you were doing down there. I mean, it's all fuel for the creative engine, isn't it? That's what it is. All this stuff.
So, what was
moving on?
Moving on from that made-up story. So, was there one thing particular that landed you an agent, Lisa, or script, or some body of work, or?
I did. I used to go to. I think it's on again this year. The London Screenwriters Festival. Which do a thing called a pitch fest, which is like speed dating.
Oh my goodness, that
sounds
terrifying.
Like elevator pitch type thing.
They do that as well, like in a literal elevator. So you get into the lift, and you don't know who's in the lift, and then you've got the time it takes to go up and down.
That's probably the only time you'd hope that the lift...
That's my claustrophobia kicking in.
That's probably the only time you'd hope the lift would get stuck, isn't it? So you've got longer to pitch.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know, it depends how well it's
true, yeah.
This is true, yeah. He's stuck in a lift with Russell T Davies. What do you do?
Yeah.
That's it. And what are you still doing 6 hours later when nobody's come to rescue the lift? And you've exhausted every possible conversational topic. And it's all back to David Tennant again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just took that off on a proper tangent. I do apologise. It's a kind of move. So was it agent first, or the scripts first then?
So it was a screenwriters festival. So,
yes. Sorry. Yes. Mm.
And one of the events that they have is like speed dating, but for agents.
I see. So you're pitching for an agent.
5 minutes for each person.
Mm.
And then a bell goes, and you have to move on to the next person.
Oh my goodness!
And then another bell goes. Yeah. So you had 5 minutes to sell yourself. So I'd just about 5 minutes to say, please let me send you something. But then it's not immediate.
Yeah.
So you send the script, and they go, yeah, we like that. Have you got anything else? So you send something else, and they go, yeah, we like that. Then you maybe meet for a coffee, and then 3 million years
it's not
later.
quick. It's not quick,
it's
is
a
it?
process.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Brilliant.
my second question was going to be, how did you get involved with Big Finish? So you stalked Matt Fitton whilst drunk. It's just a great origin.
Essentially,
yeah,
that's it.
So you sent him a spec script, and then what happened after that? How did it kind of evolve from there?
Then he said, have you got something else to read?
All right. Yeah.
That's pretty standard if nobody knows you, in case you've got some fluke one-off. Piece of genius. So I'd say, like, if you want to get into writing, you need a couple, because you've got to have one, and then you've got to have another one for when they say.
Yeah, I know someone who's got a publishing deal, and they said before we take you on, you need to have 3 books in various states of completion, so that when that first one if it succeeds, then there's something else to kind of follow up fairly quickly, rather than being like, oh yeah, I need 5 years to go off and think of it again, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I forgot.
Yes. So
Oh, Big Finish.
Yes.
So then eventually,
Big Finish.
then I did a Survivors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, because I begged for Who, but I think they let's see, let's
Test it first.
But I really enjoyed the Survivors. That was
Yeah.
a brilliant series, and it was great fun to do.
So was that your first sort of Big Finish bit that you did? Okay.
Yeah, that was my first commissioned bit of writing. That somebody had actually paid me.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And then obviously we'll talk a bit more about Big Finish, because your list there of credits is extensive and impressive. When you're looking on the Big Finish site, and it keeps saying load more at the bottom, and you're like, keep going.
No, I'm sorry.
No, it's good. It's brilliant, and I love that you've written for such a kind of variety of the things that they do there. So were you doing your TV work alongside it as well, and how did you get that first script break there, and what was it of the shows that you worked on?
They roughly happened at the same sort of time. So once I got an agent, then my agent got me sent my spec off to Doctors.
Oh, okay.
Which is So then I did a trial there, and then after that they commissioned me to do an episode. And then once you start, it's much easier to. Once you've got one thing, it's much easier to get another thing. I think that's true with anything.
I think so. It's that,
like breaking the ice, isn't it?
It's that list of credits and
exactly.
that foot in the door, and then it can slowly kind of build from there, can't it? And when you got that breakthrough with it, Lisa, how did you feel like? At what point did you feel like, okay, this is working? And quitting teaching was the right job.
We're still waiting for it.
Or do you feel that? Has that happened yet? But I think I remember I was like, okay, after about a year of kind of running my own stuff, I was like, yeah, okay, I think this is working now. But even now, it's nearly 20 years later, I still have that thing of like, oh, God, what if nothing happens this week and there's no calls or anything, and it's and Paul, you run your own business as well, don't you? And it's
I do.
It's just that bizarre sort of little voice in the back of the head, isn't it, saying the what if, the worry.
What if there's nothing else?
Yeah.
This is it now. Everything you've enjoyed, it finishes today. There is nothing ahead.
And it does
that voice. Is that what you mean?
It was like that though, wasn't it? And during 2020 happened, and suddenly
it was a cliff, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was
everything I had lined up fell off, and what about for you?
Everything just fell off.
And
same. Yeah,
except Big Finish.
The Big
So
Finish. Exactly. They got to do a whole load of stuff, didn't they, during that period, which was good. Yeah. So my next question, but Paul, number 3 on our list was: were you a Doctor Who fan?
Number 3 on our list.
Were you a Who fan before you got involved? And you've kind of already answered that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your Whovian history?
The Who credentials. Yeah.
I hate this question.
Hold on, wait. Is there a question that you like in here? Let's try and find one.
I basically really hate talking about myself.
I'm just going to say quickly, for people who are listening and not watching, Lisa's got a 7th Doctor umbrella just behind her, which is quite impressive. So that
very impressive.
That'll give you a little bit of an idea, I guess.
There's a Doctor Who picture there.
Oh yes,
well.
yeah.
That's not deliberate. They just sit there all the time.
Proper fan. I'm sensing it already, Geoff.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I've got all kinds of nonsense dotted around. TARDIS teapot.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Daleks over there. Oh, I've got all kinds.
Oh, brilliant! I love a TARDIS teapot. I have my Sylvester McCoy cup, which has which does have a chip in it. Sadly, I think you can see that there.
Yeah.
But I've had it for years. See, look, the old neon logo. Love that.
And do you know what? It's in good nick.
It's only faded a little bit.
It's
only faded a little bit. It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Show you, mate. Hey, don't make them like that anymore, Geoff. I'm telling you, mate. It's a proper cup, that is.
You're right.
It's tin and everything.
My TARDIS mug is looks like a TARDIS has been wrecked by what's left of it on the on the sides. So that was a disappointing purchase, but there we go. So
I'm gutted.
Yeah, back to your love of Who, Lisa. How did it start? When did it start?
So do you know what? This is why I hate this question, because people always say there's the standard. Who's your first Doctor? Who's your favourite Doctor? What's your first episode? Favourite episode? I haven't got an answer to any of those.
Oh, that's good, because we don't ask.
We're just looking for content.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember when.
Yeah.
The only way I can describe it is that it's sort of coming to after waking up from a long period of in a coma and just being always like it's always been there. I don't remember it ever not being part of my life. But I don't believe people who say they remember their first episode. How can you remember? I mean, I can't remember what I did last week, never mind what I was doing when I was 6 years old. But
I think if you
and I don't have a favourite.
Good. I like that. They're all good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not into to ranking Doctors and stuff like that.
No, we don't do that.
No,
we don't do that.
There is no bad Doctor.
It does me too.
Yeah, there is no bad Doctor.
That's what I rage mostly about on Twitter. Actually, is kind of flag waving. I mean, people are going to have some people are going to have their favourites, and they're going to feel that they identify with one particular Doctor maybe than another sometimes, but not everybody's like that. For me personally anyway, it's more the character of the Doctor, that kind of maverick element, the outsider, someone who, as Geoff said, doesn't use a gun, who uses wits and humour to just power through, and always has this sense of righteousness, even if it doesn't always come through, and some tough decisions sometimes have to be made. I love that, the moral dilemmas and just the crazy. Yes, exactly.
Is that character.
Yeah. See, I believe that. This is a weird thing, right? Just to give you a bit of respite here now, Lisa. Right? The weird thing I used to do when I was reading the old Target novels is just to kind of spice it up, because I'd read loads of them like so many times over. I used to read, right, and I used to imagine different Doctors in those stories. So Armageddon Factor, for example, Tom Baker's story, I'd imagine Colin Baker as the Doctor, and and so on, and Doctor Who and the Daleks, the William Hartnell story, I'd imagine Peter Davison in there, and it works, right? If you do that, I mean, it worked for me at least anyway, and I think that is a sign of the universality of the Doctor's character. And yes, there may be different facets that come out from time to time, but essentially that core, I think, should and does always remain.
It's the same character with the core traits, and each Doctor has different facets, like you say, Paul, that are more kind of prominent than necessarily in others, but it's the same character
sometimes.
Across all of it.
Anyway, I'll shut up now. I'll let you crack on. You drink the tea. All right.
So let's talk a little bit about. Tell us. As I say, tell us some of your kind of strongest memories of watching Who and things like that. What I know you said you don't remember your first episode, but what kind of tell us some of your favourite moments and things that have kind of stuck in your mind over the years.
What from particular episodes?
Yeah, or just any of it.
It's 60 years of
there's loads of it.
To choose from.
Geoff does this. He's got a ninja questioning technique. That's what that is.
I'll let you think on that one, and we'll come back to it. So, tell us a bit more about the Big Finish stuff that you've worked on. So you started with Survivors, and then, like we said, it's kind of grown from there, isn't it? And a huge number of things, really, like Time War stuff, Unit as well, which is a series that I really love, and I'm so pleased it came back as well. The Rose Tyler Dimension Canon series, Stranded, Missy. You've done the robots as well, and some stuff with the Ninth Doctor and Jenny as well, which is always good fun. It's a huge range of stuff for it, isn't it? So
I'm trying to collect them all. But, but every time I think I'm getting close, they bring out a new range.
Yes, it's ever growing.
What I love about Big Finish is the fact that they do the classic series and they do the new stuff, and they also spin off in all kinds of crazy directions, and sometimes mix and match, both eras, which is really good fun.
A bit like the
so getting to pitch.
Go ahead.
No.
They did that with the recent Tennant series with the classic Doctors, didn't they? Which was one of the ones that you wrote for, I think. And the
that was a lockdown.
Lockdown project.
But you've got a week. We've got David Tennant in a cupboard.
Do you know,
we're not letting him out until you write a script, so it's on you.
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about it today, actually, but in advance of chatting with you, and I thought, apparently Tennant said he's not going to do any more Big Finish, and I guess he was doing them during lockdown because didn't have much else to do. And I thought, I wonder how far in advance those scripts like Dalek Universe and the classic Doctor crossovers, how far in advance they were planned, because like particularly Dalek Universe is massive. It's like 12 episodes, I think, is it? So you've sort of semi-answered that there. We've got Tennant. Let's get something.
There's stuff that's been recorded that won't be out till nearly 2030.
Really?
Wow.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I know. Tom Baker's doing stuff that we won't hear for years, isn't he? Which is quite exciting. Yeah, it's good. So, how does it work then with Big Finish in terms of getting commission for a script? Or, do they come to you and say, would you like to write for Jenny, or do you go to them and say, I've got an idea for this, or is it a bit of both? How does it really work?
Yeah, a bit of both. I mean, it mainly comes from them because they're big and important and full of great ideas. So I just wait for them to send me an email going, we're going to do this. What do you think? And I go, yay. We do that. So I'll normally get an email from the script editor saying, we're doing this range. Are you interested in a story? And I will invariably say yes.
Yeah.
I do sometimes say no, but that's usually just because I've got too many other Big Finishes on the go.
Because I'm writing this for you and I've got that working. Yeah.
And then you write a pitch, a sort of paragraph of a story idea. And if they like it, then you do a couple of pages outlining it, and then you have to do another page for the BBC because they have to approve everything.
Right. Yeah.
And if the BBC say yay, and Mr. Briggs says yay, then on we go.
Okay. Is that quite a long process then? Can it take a while, or is it pretty quick?
Well, I mean, how long is a piece of string? It can take a week.
Yep.
It can take 3 years.
Really?
It really does.
Yeah.
Vary that wildly.
And have you had any that have had a long gestation at that point, or they?
Yeah, loads. Well, not loads.
A few.
And how does it?
Because it depends on who's available, the actors available. Is something, because if something's happening on screen, it can't clash with anything that's going on TV. So all kinds.
Any examples of stories that have gone that way? You can't that you can tell us about anyway.
No.
Oh.
Lisa slowly shakes her head.
Remember that.
So, how does it work when you're?
I'm excited though at the sound of that though.
Yeah.
Hey.
How does it work when you're slotting into something like the Unit Nemesis series? So I've been listening to the Objective Earth set recently, and obviously there's 4 stories in there, and there's each story is kind of its own sort of mini adventure, isn't it? As part of an overall arc that kind of leads between them. So. They come to you and they say, well, we're doing this unit set, do you want to pitch an idea, and you've got these things that need to feature, and then is it a kind of free-for-all, or do they say we want it about this, or like I imagine it's a bit like writing for the MCU or something. You've got little bits that
you're playing in somebody's toy box. Is that what you mean?
But so how much freedom do you get within it though?
Loads really. So with something like Unit, then so Andy Smith, who oversees that, he's normally got an amazing crazy arc going on. So for each box set, he'll get the 4 writers together, and we'll have a Zoom where, and he'll have sent us a document beforehand saying,
okay,
this is what the series arc is. This is how I see the rough breakdown of what might happen in each episode. And then we have a Zoom where we sort of say, well, I'd quite like to do this sort of thing, or I'd quite like to do that sort of thing. So you have a chin wag, and then he pieces it all together. Okay. You say, right, well, I'll do that, you do that, you do that, and you do that.
Yeah, so a bit like a writer's room kind of setup then, I suppose.
It's very much like that.
And you're all kind of looking at each other's, so working narratives into each other's different scripts, I suppose, and you pick that up, and then I'll do this with it. I like that. That must be quite exciting.
Well, there's always somebody who's got an eye over the whole thing.
Just to keep track of it all. Yeah.
Do you find that creatively inspiring? Do you get kind of motivated, excited by having all those ideas sort of bouncing around?
Yeah. It's nice to. It's nice to do a bit of everything. It's nice to do stuff that is just entirely your own little tiny individual thing, but it's also lovely because the writers at Big Finish are so good that you can always try and squeeze some.
Oh, see. So they come out with a good idea. I like that. I'll take that one. Of course, they're probably doing the same to you as well. Well, in awe of being
course they would be.
The same creative pool as you.
And in your Big Finish, it's quite interesting what you said there, Lisa, because so much of what they do these days is these kind of arc, box sets, isn't it? And so you've all got to be working together to, and having that overall vision for things. Like you were involved on Stranded, weren't you? Which was the 8th Doctor series. Was that just three sets for that? Was there more to come on it? I'm not sure how far.
There was.
Was it 4? Okay, yeah. And so that's a massive one, isn't it? I don't know if you've listened to that, Paul, where the TARDIS gets stuck on Earth, isn't it? And the Doctor has to go and live in a flat in a little house. Yeah, so it's such a good idea. But I love the fact that everyone's working so closely together on it all, and it's kind of that writer's room. It's really good. So do you find it difficult writing for audio compared to screen? As obviously you have to be a lot more kind of explanatory in the dialogue. Is it?
Or do you, Geoff? Or do you?
Or do you? Yeah. It's the opposite of show not tell.
It's tricky. It's different. It's got pros and cons. So it's difficult trying to, because how do you? And I still don't think I've quite nailed it. Like, how do you convey what the characters are seeing and experiencing without having them, say, oh, look at the big monster coming towards us.
But I have heard that in a few scripts, though.
Yeah, probably mine.
No, not yours. Yours at all.
I always think it's handled, really well when
mostly brilliant.
Like if
the script editors are brilliant in that they will, because sometimes you do it almost subconsciously, and the script editors will go, no.
Let's look at that giant blue thing over there in the shape of a man holding a letter to the sky. That sort of thing.
Let's make it more natural.
But a lot of it can be. Sorry, go on.
But just trying to work out how to, and the sound designers do an amazing job. I really mean to. Because I write ridiculous stage directions for them.
So do you specify, kind of sound effects and things like that, and let them?
I try to communicate the noise that I expect them to make.
Do you act it out?
Sometimes I'll actually write.
We could ask you.
Pew pew pew.
Yes. Pew pew.
Bow. Bam.
But you spelled P-Y-O-O.
Yeah.
That's the correct spelling, I think, for that. Yeah.
I love it. I love that. I think that's brilliant.
Or something like that I wrote in one script. I wrote, and then there's the noise like a funfair exploding.
Ooh.
I get that.
And I just hope that they'll understand what I mean by
I would think if I was a sound designer like the Big Finish guys, I'd like to get a description like that and then think, what does a fun fair exploding sound like? You know,
let's go blow up a fun fair! Hurrah!
There'd be some firework noises. And,
that'd be bad.
So chuck in some more challenges for
the sound of a roller coaster keening over from its 120 foot high arch,
while still rolling.
Millions of people, as 20 people scream, watching the ground getting ever closer.
Paul, I love the way
that sort of thing.
You took down the death toll on that one there quite nicely.
I did, didn't I? Yeah,
because what roller coaster have millions of people on it?
20 people. I reduced it very quickly.
That was the main flaw.
I started with a million.
Anybody at the fun fair.
This is true. Actually, I've introduced the cast, haven't I? Which is a bad thing. Yeah, sorry.
That's a lot.
I've introduced casualties.
That's a lot of work for other parts played by members of the cast for people to do there.
Yes. Yes, it is.
When we spoke to Lauren Cornelius, we did a mini game of other parts played by members of the cast, and it was things like falling down the stairs chased by a zombie. Ooh, we haven't done it with anyone else yet. We've been too scared to try. So we won't ask you. Don't worry. Yeah.
I told you I'm a terrible actor.
Nonsense. You got a drama degree.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Not all of that was for acting.
Don't say that. My daughter's doing drama. She's not doing a degree. She's not quite there yet. She's just doing a GCSE in drama, or is it BTEC? It's one of the two anyway. She loves it. She loves it. Yeah. Gives her a bit of an outlet to kind of, There's a lot of writing involved. Apparently, there's a lot of theory of.
There is much more now than.
Do you know? I find that strange that something physical like an acting degree has so much of a writing element. I remember
I think it's good personally. I think it's great because it teaches you. There's like certain conventions of it. There's histories of it. There's what other people have done, other viewpoints, and if you can learn what different people have done to get a certain idea across and what they've experimented with and how it turned out, I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
Personally, that's what I feel.
I stand corrected.
As well as the acting part. Yes. Clear the stage, everybody. I have arrived.
I'm going to cut this bit.
That's my Lawrence impression.
Very good.
No, keep it. I'll stick it in as an extra.
So, Lisa, do you ever sit in on the recording sessions?
As much as I can.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Because there's.
I mean, that's. Probably I'd write the scripts for free just for the chance to listen to those actors saying my words.
That must be quite thrilling.
Like no other job in the world, where you can. One day you're writing for Derek Jacobi, the next you're writing for Chris Eccleston, the next you're writing for Lou Jameson. Like it's.
Yeah, and as a fan as well, I love that so many people who are involved with Big Finish are genuine fans of the show, and like you were saying earlier, sometimes you take a job because you're worried about what may or may not come next, but with Big Finish, everyone's doing it because they love it, and so like I put that picture of you with Tom Baker out online, and that what a brilliant photo.
Brilliant.
He's obviously.
I mean, I would give all of every money that they've ever paid me. I would happily give back in exchange for that day. Because it was just magical. Money can't buy that.
It's fantastic. Yeah, he was obviously making you laugh there, and it's such a great picture.
You have an image, a sort of picture. I'd never met him before, and you have a sort of idea of what he would be like. He was exactly. It was almost like I'd. Scripted myself the perfect Baker day, and he was just
we just did our last episode was a Tom Baker retrospective, wasn't it, Paul? So we were talking about because it was his birthday, and I was at the Doctor Who 50th celebration, nearly a decade ago now, and it was the Saturday when Tom was there, and he came out on the stage, and he strutted across very slowly, and the place went bonkers, and he sat down, and he just didn't say anything immediately, as everyone was kind of loving it, and he was lapping it up as well, and then when he did speak, he kind of brought the house down, and he's just got such a charisma and personality about him, and he really is larger than life. So I was thrilled seeing that picture that you got to meet him. And
brilliant.
So do you go down whenever people are recording and sit there, and is it just for the thrill of it, or do you want to kind of input a little bit on the delivery, and or are you just geeking out?
I am just there to geek out. They don't really need me there. In fact, with COVID, we couldn't go down at all, and you still can't go to every recording because some people are still understandably a bit nervous, and if they've got a long series of stuff to do, that you don't want to risk them getting ill and then not being able to record. But if we can't go into the studio, then we can listen in down, like we're doing this now. So you can do that, so that it's like
virtually
a virtual
there,
experience. But no, it's purely for a geek out. So they'll ask you questions, but I think about the script sometimes. But I think they're just being nice. But just sitting in a room with Derek Jacobi doing a crossword.
That's a bit extraordinary. Does he ask you for help on some of the clues?
I think he did, but I don't remember being of any use whatsoever.
No, I must admit, if it were me, I'd just go. Wow, that's fantastic. So like you said, then, so you worked with some fabulous big names, Derek Jacobi. We got Tom Baker, Chris Eccleston as well. What was it like working with Chris? Because he must have. Well, I think he does, doesn't he? He has a bit of presence about him.
He is the nicest, most genuine, generous person I have ever encountered in this world of drama. He's just lovely. He made him one of my requests. It just makes people tea. There's absolutely no side to
no
him.
airs or graces.
Just a nice bloke.
It's so good that he came back to the role and
he's having a ball. He's just loving it so much, which is gorgeous.
That when they announced it there was a lot of excitement in the fandom there, and there still is for it. I think it's brilliant that he's come back.
Imagine how excited
I can imagine. God, after years of asking, and I bet when that yes came back, the place went mad.
Party! Nick, crack the champers out, me old chum. We got Chriso.
He's finally said yes.
It's brilliant.
So
fabulous.
You've worked quite a bit on the Missy series, because we had we put a tweet out a little while ago, which was where do people think Sasha?
That's how I ended up doing
Did you see that one? Oh,
Sasha Master.
That started confusing my head. I just
So you might have more insight onto it than others. Ooh. So what do you think the timeline is? And tell us a bit about it. The Lumiere, is that how you pronounce it?
The Lumiere. Lumiere.
Not to be confused with Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast.
Or as one of my twin daughters calls it, Lumiere. That's
that's so cute.
Like that. So cute. So I wrote that before we knew about Sasha.
Okay.
So in my head,
head canon.
She follows directly on from Missy, and Sasha then comes after her.
Yep.
So therefore, in my head, Sasha comes after Missy. But also in my head, I just get the caveat, all in my head.
People can make their own head canon.
Sasha does not necessarily come directly after the Lumiere.
Interesting. Because I
multiple masters.
I always felt like Missy had a great arc, but the master was probably inevitably going to go back to being a naughty boy or girl. So it doesn't kind of ruin anything. It's a bit like the 11. The 11 is a nutter, but one of the prior versions tried to be good, didn't he? And so there's precedent if we're going to kind of base it on that sort of thing. With the Missy series, was it written? I suppose this applies for kind of any number of series, do you write things with the hope that one day, you know, a actor will say yes to doing something such as, you know, Chris Eccleston, or do you find out that, you know, Michelle Gomez is up for it and then you want to, you know, you start writing? How does that sort of...
Oh yeah, you don't write unless you've got the talent.
Right, okay.
I love the way you said that.
I say that sometimes, yeah, sometimes it happens, but that's normally an accident of scheduling, or things go wrong sometimes. But generally speaking, with anything, you don't write it until you've got somebody to perform it. Otherwise, you're just
writing for no
wasting your time.
But that's what a lot of fan writers do, isn't it? You know, you kind of just imagine scenarios with you know, with different characters from the series and just write your thing with them, you know. And so
which is fine if you're doing it just for fun and enjoyment. But I need to pay the bills.
Yeah, true. Yeah, when you're
these kind of spec scripts,
when it's got to generate an income, it's slightly different.
These sort of spec scripts are no good for you now.
Nick, have we got Michelle yet? She said yes.
I've written 8 scripts.
Yes. Excellent. I can start work now. Thank you, quite everybody. I'm composing my piece. I'm sure it's not like that. That's how I would do it.
Well, that is, that's how you do it. Yeah.
I would shut the door and put a big red sign on saying "Silence whilst I compose."
But it says
I would do that.
Silence, darlings.
Silence,
spelt with an H. Darlings.
Shut up. I'd put shut it. Shut it out there, you. Shut up. I'm writing my novels. That's what I say. I'm writing it. See, I've got pen and everything, and paper. That helps, doesn't it? Well, it does. It's essential kit for a writer. Pen.
I don't know how to follow that, to be honest.
I know. It's just one of them days.
Sorry.
Okay. I've got a question here, which I know you're gonna really love this one, Lisa. So we've done Tell Us About the Lumiere. Which script out of the many that you've written has been the most, or have you found the most difficult to write, and why?
Okay. Some of them feel like, some of them do sometimes feel like pulling teeth, and then they're not. I can tell you the easiest script,
Go on, then.
right? Which was the Missy one, which was just easy peasy lemon squeezy. Do you know what? The Wink was really difficult because we had such a short space of time, and I made it phenomenally complicated.
So we've actually got a question related to that from Giltzer on Twitter, who says, "How do you go about writing the Weeping Angels on audio?"
Oh, I saw that with some difficulty because the defining quality is all about vision.
Yeah.
So in order to make it really super hard for myself, I decided to set my story on a planet where nobody could see.
Yes.
Which, looking back, I mean, it was 2020.
I see where the difficulty arose here.
Yeah, I'd been locked down for a while, and I think but I think I was trying to make it easier for myself so that if the characters can't see, then, and the audience obviously, it's an audio, then maybe that will help me with how to suggest where they are and what they're doing, which I think it did ultimately. She said, but the noise again. The sound is so good, and then they use the same sound that they use on the TV, so it's recognised. Well, that we call it the angel stab. That do you know?
Write down pew pew.
There's that
we just write angel
stab. Inserts angel. That game came out a little while ago. What was it called? Edge of Reality or something? And there's a section in there where you get stuck in a sort of wine
lift.
No, it's like
lift with an angel.
It's not. No, it's like
I can imagine that
catacombs or something. And almost every time the angel stab went off, I was like, oh my god, and
Oops.
it's quite effective. It works really well. Yeah. There's an idea, isn't there? Getting stuck in a lift doing a pitch to someone, and it turns out they're a weeping angel.
Somebody's going to write
You can have
a
that
story about either getting stuck in a lift with an angel, getting stuck in a lift with Russell T Davies,
and an angel.
Or
Or both.
Yeah. Right there.
Dun, dun, dun,
That's
dun,
it.
dun.
Angel stab.
Yeah, or,
The ultimate spin.
Yeah.
that's what you should call it, angel stab. Yeah.
Angel stab.
Look at this. We're just throwing out the ideas here for you tonight.
That's just amazing.
Right, yeah.
I'm making notes.
Yeah. For our listeners,
Finished production.
Lisa's got a large pad and she's writing down all our ideas as we chuck them out.
And then tossing them in the bin where they belong.
burning them. So, how you might not be able to say much here, but how far in advance are you and Big Finish in general working on things? So, like, I know the Sasha Master Series is coming out, and I looked it up the other day because I thought, I wonder when that's coming, and it said it's coming out December 2025 or something, and I thought, blimey, that's a while away. So,
that's a while off.
And I guess he hasn't come in and recorded yet, and maybe things are still being written. But I guess there's stuff that you've worked on that hasn't even been announced yet, that, and released, and things that has been planned for, like you said earlier, years to come. So what do you reckon the the time frame is on things? I suppose I'm trying to dig for some insider info here.
Yeah, I can't tell you anything that's not been officially announced by Big Finish. So unless it's on the website, I can say nothing.
Say nothing.
Other than that, there are lots of exciting things coming
Brilliant.
up.
Lots of exciting things.
How rubbish is that? Yeah.
Well, we've had better exclusives, I'll be honest.
Cheeky.
No, I don't expect you to say anything at all. But yeah, I
That doesn't stop you trying, though, does it, Geoff?
I
Because
did
that's the
try,
second time you tried that already.
Yeah, made a valiant effort there. So we got a question from Pridonian06 on Twitter, who asked, what moment has stuck with you the most whilst working on Big Finish? And I wonder if it might be something we've already talked about, but it might not be.
Yeah, so I mean, it's always the encounters in the room with the people who perform it, really. I mean, I've made some really good, so it's very little of it is to do with the writing. But I've made some really, really good friends through it, and just the opportunity to play in that sandpit and to write for those characters, and it just feels like an immense privilege. But it's mainly meeting your heroes, because none of them have, they say never meet your heroes, but nobody in the Whoniverse has disappointed yet.
Oh, that's great. That's really good.
That's amazing.
Well, yes, it seems unlikely, I imagine, yeah. So, can you tell us a bit about what you're working on at the moment? Not just Big Finish, but...
No.
Right, next question.
God damn.
Okay.
It's a hard nut to crack, this one, Jeffrey. I'll tell you something else. We're trying every angle. Ain't going nowhere. She ain't telling us nothing.
Okay, here's one that you can freely answer. What would be your dream Big Finish project?
Ooh. Stuck in a
Although
lift.
Actually,
I could only answer that if
we
it's
have to
not something that might be happening.
Oh.
Dear listeners, I tried from another angle again, but I've been rejected again.
I can tell you that I think I've done it.
Oh, okay.
But I can't tell you whether it's something that's already out or something that's coming out.
I'm getting all excited.
Coming out.
Yeah. I'd love to see what the inner workings of Big Finish and see what's going on.
You want to be a fly in the wall, like a little Ant-Man or something like that. Just buzz on it.
There's a good idea. The Incredible Shrunken Doctor. There's an idea as well.
Like Planet of Giants.
I was going to say, hang on,
Well,
we've done that.
Yeah, but
we've done that one in the 60s, Geoff.
This is the Incredible.
You've just seen it on the box set.
I have, but this is the Incredible shrinking one.
I'll bring down the plug hole.
Yes, a giant plug.
Yeah.
Do you like those old 60s Doctor Who? Did you indulge in those?
Oh yeah, I'll have a dabble at
Have a dabble.
anything, dabble at all of them, any of them. I love Ian and Barbara.
Oh yes, the OG team.
Two of my favourite companions. So yeah.
Yes, I said to
love a bit of the Romans. Who doesn't love a toga?
Exactly.
I said to Paul, I don't know, last week or something. I hadn't really seen much of the First Doctor because a lot of it wasn't, isn't around. And I've been watching through season 2, and in my head he'd always been quite grumpy. It was kind of the impression. And
this is William Hartnell, the First Doctor. He's talking about.
He's having a great
Yeah,
time.
he is
I've
absolutely
been really surprised by how kind of cheeky and
playful,
and
cheeky,
and I've been really enjoying. I just watched the Romans last week, and great, it's so good.
I love it.
It was kind of a bit ridiculously silly, like Nero, and I loved it. It was
chasing
great.
Barbara through the palace.
Yeah, it was almost like I was at one point. I was like, "This is kind of Benny Hill," and I liked it.
The comedy's always been there. It's never been a dry show.
No, I honestly, from watching, sort of season 1 stuff, I was like, oh yeah, it's quite dry, and that was sort of,
Whoa!
But that was the impression I had. But,
season 1 has the Doctor
I
doing
obviously
loads of different things. They're trying.
Yeah.
So it's back to that one note line that everybody kind of takes away from the First Doctor. It's just a grumpy old man. It's just so untrue and does him an absolute disservice. This is why I really like Stephen Noonan from Big Finish actually doing his First Doctor, because he brings a lot of that in, and you can sense it in a performance. There's always something working on in the back of his mind, which is what Hartnell was so good at. We need more of those First Doctor adventures.
Yeah, with
and when you think it was 60 years ago, and the ideas that they were coming up with, week after week after week, just
like
can you imagine when they turn around in their little writers' pool and as they do, because it's the 60s, and they're like, I think we should have a planet full of butterflies and giant ants. And I tell you what, right? There'll be seas of like poison acid and caterpillars with laser guns out of the faces. We'll do that. What do you reckon, David? David Whittaker's like, Christ, yes. Or was it Dennis Spooner then? I don't know. I can't remember.
the costumes were just...
Yeah. That sounds like a Doctor
And then they're like, right, how much is it going to cost everybody? Well, I don't know how much it's going to cost, but I know what we've got, and it's not a lot. I'll tell you that for notes. It's great. I love the Web Planet.
And then the poor Sensorites just get a sash.
Exactly, yeah. But the fact, you're right, because they were fearless though, weren't they? They must have been fearless to just take it all on and just give it a go.
Yeah. I was really, Planet of the Giants, when that episode started, I was like, whoa, this is ambitious for the time and the resources and all of that.
Good word, that.
And I was really impressed by it. And I think, like, I've just been watching the Web Planet, and the Zarbi is obviously, men in tights in, papier-mâché, ant things.
It's giant ants, dude.
The noise.
Look at that.
Yeah. And,
my Menoptera.
Yeah. And
drama, right there. That's what that is.
Yeah. Be a tree. Be a Menoptera. The Zarbi made that electronic noise, and my wife was in the room when I was watching it. She went, oh my God, I'm going to bed, and she left.
No.
But
Martin Jarvis is one of those Menoptera, isn't he? Which is brilliant.
I didn't know that.
Did you know that, Geoff?
I did not know that. No.
Martin Jarvis.
Paul's classic knowledge is extensively, so far more than mine. Yeah.
He's also in Invasion of Dinosaurs and Vengeance on Varos. There you go. Tell you that. And he's been in stuff, lots of stuff. But he never forgets the day when he was asked to go down and put on a giant butterfly outfit and float around on some wire.
Paul?
Well, you wouldn't.
Wouldn't forget a thing like that, Lisa. No, you're right. Quite right.
Paul, have you been stuck in the office all day?
I haven't been out all day, mate. I haven't been out for weeks. It's true. Literally, my job is sitting on this chair in front of these two screens, going slightly ever so mad with it all.
Madder.
Yeah, mad. Go on, I'll be quiet. Go on, crack on.
So
just have a little kip.
Let's go back to the writing discussion.
Yes, sensible stuff.
Are you working on any TV stuff at the moment? You can redact it, but are you?
Of course. Yeah.
But you've always.
Let me just read what it says on my.
Yeah. But
yeah, I'm always doing telly stuff. I told you I can't say no.
Quite right.
I'm trying to. I mean, my ultimately, I'm trying to get my own original stuff away. And
yes.
Very, very difficult. But yeah, I've got various projects on the go, various bits and bobs in development. And
would you be looking at doing that for TV or for audio or
TV?
Okay.
Well, and audio actually.
Okay. Because Big Finish do
TV pays.
Yeah.
Well, I always say this,
Yeah.
and I think they're going to start to get really cross with me. But I mean, it's not Big Finish. That's just an audio thing in general. Because they have to. It costs more to make telly because you've got to have actual sets.
Yeah. True.
Yeah. It's not just knocking coconuts together, or is it? For
No. Well, I mean, I would never tell any of the sound designers that it was knocking coconuts together.
Geoff just ruins his chances of appearing on Big Finish.
I'm never going to get to cameo at Big Finish. The reason I say that is it is specific reason because I went to see Colin Baker in his Hound of the Baskervilles tour.
You did, Geoff. Yes,
year. And it was like a Big Finish live. If I'm what I imagine a Big Finish live would have been like if they were to do something like that, which I think they should. It was like a radio play, and everyone got up and they said their lines. They had a couple of mics, and then there was a lady doing the sound effects, which included coconuts for horses, doors, boots on gravel, and stuff like that. And it was brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and Colin was fantastic in it, and Terry Malloy was in it as well. But as I was sitting there, I was like, man, Big Finish should do part of Big Finish Day. They should do a live. Play.
That is a genius idea. I am going to suggest
that.
Well,
make sure it comes back. Came from me. you can actually have that one and write that down. But I know they've done.
I'll credit you.
I know they've done. Bits of readings and stuff at things before. But how fun would it be to have a 45-minute story done or
really
something like that.
That's a brilliant idea.
And do you know what? Even with like more
he's
sound
off
effects,
now.
You could just cue things up on off the laptop or something for explosions and when the fairground goes boom.
Well, they do sometimes in a recording. They'll have some sound effects.
Oh, they play them in.
Ah, really? Yeah, that's good.
I suppose that would give you something to react to as well, wouldn't it? On occasion.
Yeah, that's really good. So my sort of last question for you tonight, and Paul, you might have some more, I'm not sure, but do you have a message for Doctor Who fans?
Yes.
That sounded impressive.
2 words, be kind.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, quite right.
Yeah, we would agree with that. Yeah. Brilliant. Paul, have you got anything else you'd like to ask Lisa tonight?
I do because my fam are big fans of Casualty.
Oh.
And I don't know if you've because I don't watch it though.
It's gonna be another
sadly, no. I'll tell you what it is, right? Because I mean, honestly, your writing, the breadth of your writing, the stuff you've written for is really impressive, and
Can't say no.
Exactly. But do you find it quite easy, sort of switching from writing for a mainstream drama? I mean, maybe I'm answering my own thing here. There is a bit of melodrama in Casualty as well. Is it slightly heightened reality, or is it? I don't know. What do you think?
Yes, I think almost all. Most.
Most.
I think most drama is. Because when it isn't, it really stands out. It's stuff like the stuff that Ken Loach does, for instance, which is very not heightened.
Yeah.
But it's a performance, isn't it? Who is it who said drama is life with the dull bits cut out? Because you don't want to really watch a slice of life because that's dull. So even stuff like that purports to be a slice of life
isn't quite.
You choose the best bits. There's a difference between sci-fi and Casualty in that you're not going to get an alien in Casualty.
Well, do you know what? You say that, but imagine the shock if you did.
Oh no! Do you know
Casualty Doctor Who crossover.
One of my episodes, the best view I ever got was from somebody on Twitter who said about the opening shot, "What is this? An episode of Doctor Who?"
And you're like, damn, they spotted it.
That's the long game.
Do you ever do that? Do you ever try to get sort of references to Shaun of Things? Brilliant. Yes.
All of my stuff is littered with Doctor Who references. I got Fraser Hines into Doctors twice.
Did you?
Like the actual actor.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's brilliant.
And I had Peladon Industries in something.
I love it. That
all kinds of.
That's the sort of thing that's so subtle that only a fan would.
It's purely for my own amusement. But then people who like you guys will spot it and go, "Did you mean that? Is that deliberate?"
Who wrote this? Oh, I see.
I just have to watch Casualty first, though. That's
yeah.
Shall we done? And you've done EastEnders as well, right? You've done a few of those.
Yep. Wow. Yeah. Did a bit of EastEnders.
What's that like? I get the impression in my head that it's kind of more like a factory because it's an ongoing thing. They must queue these things up and just churn them through.
Would you say that
the scheduling is
is it?
Something like EastEnders is less kind of a personal writing thing in a way, whereas something on Doctors, you've got a lot more kind of control over it. Do you know what I mean? And like you said, EastEnders is kind of a machine to do it.
Yeah, with something like EastEnders, it's all serial, which is the ongoing story of the regular characters. Whereas Casualty and Doctors, you get the guest stories that weave in and out of that, so you get to create your own stuff. But the fun of EastEnders was the scheduling, because you get given. So you've got your story that you need to tell, and then you get a list of actors that are available.
Oh, really?
Story. You get a list of actors which are available to work outside. A list of actors available to work inside, like on the inside in the studio, and you get a list of locations that you're allowed to use. And sometimes you've got a scene between, say, Phil Mitchell and Kat Slater. They've got to be having an argument, but neither of them are available on the same day in the same place.
Oh, wow.
So you've got to work out how on earth you tell that.
And how do you do it?
Really good.
Yeah, God, that scheduling production sounds like a nightmare.
And if somebody breaks their leg or is suddenly unavailable, then
and throws it all up.
And how would you deal with a scene like that? Would you have them do it on phones, or would you have it sort of shot separately? Or because I remember watching one of the Avengers films, and there's a scene with Mark Ruffalo and Scarlett Johansson, and they weren't there on the same days.
And Tom Holland and Zendaya as well, wasn't
it?
In the Spider-Man one, they weren't on the bridge.
Happens more often than you think, especially with soap.
Yeah. Well, I suppose, with big film stars, that's not the only thing they're doing at any one time, is it? And so, but God, it must.
But once you know that it happens, you start looking for it. Like, they're never in the same frame together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just camera cuts and backs of heads and things.
When
sound guy puts a wig on, or something like that, and they film him from behind.
That happens too.
Is it?
And during COVID, all the kissing scenes, you had a big sheet of perspex.
Yeah. Do you know what I was going to say? Because EastEnders became quite well known for its ways around things, didn't it? They had the perspex sheet, and they would hide things with stuff in the foreground, wouldn't they? Of a shot like railings and things.
And get the other halves in, get the husbands and
because they're in a bubble.
And then when I look at something, like Doctor Who's Flux series, which I thought was amazing, the fact that they pulled that off during a pandemic, and we've talked to some of the people involved on it, and they were supposed to have 8 episodes, and it went down.
We talked to Pete Levy, didn't we?
Yeah, Pete Levy,
who does Casualty as well. There's a connection.
Yeah. And
Pete's
we like Pete.
Pete was great, and like Johnny Mathers, who was Passenger, and he said it was supposed to be 8 episodes originally, and it ended up being 6 because of various things, and story stuff got condensed a bit. But even regardless of that, it was such an epic series of Who, and it just
I get cross sometimes when you see people saying, well, they should have done this and they should have done that. And you're like, you have no idea
No
the
idea.
production.
I fully agree. The fact that we got a series,
Everybody's an expert.
Yeah, everyone's an expert. Yeah, the fact that we got a series and that it was as good as it was is, like for us, we both love Jodie's Doctor.
I honestly thought it was astonishing.
Absolutely, yeah. I've watched it through a number of times now, and for my filming work, which is nowhere near on the same scale, but having dealt with stuff during COVID as well, I cannot imagine how hard it was to pull that off, and the difficulties of things. And so, I thought it was brilliant on many levels, So would you like to write for the 13th Doctor at some point, when Jodie hopefully does Big Finish at some point?
Oh, yes. I'm going to Galley.
Oh, are you? Yes, you did tell us you were. Yeah, when is that? Next week?
Yeah. She's going to be there.
She is, yeah.
So, me and Dawny are planning to corner up.
Yes. It's got to be done.
I met Jodie and Mandip at London Comic Con last year, and it's only a brief meeting, but they both were absolutely fantastic. It made you feel really kind of special, and it was brilliant. So corner her and get her to sign it on a napkin that she'll come and do Big Finish at some point.
I tell you what, you get us another story with Mandip and Jodie and Sasha. Even just a three-hander with those three locked in an elevator.
Yeah.
Even just
I know. Yeah.
Like you'd settle for that.
I'd settle for that because you know what. I really love.
No, but what I'm saying is that would be quite a thing.
Yeah,
it'd be totally a thing. It'd be just electrifying, wouldn't it? But I mean, I love a lot of the big stories. I love. I mean, I do like the things with big scale and everything else, because you can imagine those big landscapes. But I think more than anything, I love it when things draw in, when the spotlight comes right down. Yeah. With those sort of stuff. And it's just about the characters in that moment. And Big Finish have done a few of those, and I just mostly love them.
Yeah, they're my favourites.
I love that.
What's series that Big Finish are doing at the moment, or that you've worked on is your favourite?
Oh,
just to listen to.
I can't pick favourites.
She did start saying
that. Sorry, yeah. I love the unit series.
But I genuinely can't. I mean, that's just
We're just going to wait here until you do. So
we'll cut your thinking time. I
love them all.
Yeah, brilliant. Good answer.
To choose between your children.
Exactly. Well, yeah, they're all my favourites.
Yeah. Every time I listen to a Big Finish thing, I'm always entertained by it. I've never come away thinking, well, that was bad. But Paul and I are the kind of people, like, we actually really like Doctor Who, and like, and
we actually really like Doctor Who,
and there's some stuff is same with anything. Some things will connect with you more than others will, but none of it's bad, and there's always something to enjoy. Largely the fact that it's Doctor Who, so.
Martin Jarvis dressed as a butterfly flying around on a Kirby wire. There you go. Doesn't get better than that.
What other show does that happen in?
Indeed.
Exactly.
Yeah. We as always, we could probably talk for hours with you, Lisa. We'll find that with our guests, don't we?
I thought of an answer to your question.
Yes.
Oh, good.
You wanted
in the nick of time.
That stayed with me from. I'm actually. I think the regenerations.
Yeah.
Yes. Brilliant.
Because it's a terrifying, and I don't remember the first one I saw because I don't remember, but I remember the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an odd one, isn't it?
Because it's really scary, but then exciting at the same time. And that's so unique to this show.
Yeah, nothing else does anything like that, does it? And it, like you said, it's scary and it's sad and a little bit exciting at the same time as well.
Yeah,
it's very,
I used to
very odd.
I used to love the idea of regeneration. When I haven't got it to hand actually, but the cover of Planet of the Spiders, where you have that little thing in the corner of John Pertwee turning into Tom Baker. It isn't quite like. I remember seeing that when I was 7 or 8, 9, whatever, when I was a kid anyway. And I didn't know much about Doctor Who. It was always on, but that was the first time I'd known about this regeneration thing.
Right.
And I just remember looking at it thinking, well, he's changing into a younger guy with dark hair. How? And there's a girl with a giant spider on her back with its legs out. You don't get anything like that.
No.
This is the eternal brilliance of Doctor Who.
That's why it's the greatest show of all time.
It is, and I think being allowed to play in that toy box, Lisa, and come out with all your wonderful stories that you do, and I'm pleased that you don't say no, because it means we get more of your brilliant stuff, and that is a treasure to all of us. And I just want to thank you for all of that stuff that you keep writing, because we love it.
Yeah, thank you
a lot.
And thank you very much for joining us tonight as well. It's been a real good. It's been a real pleasure talking.
It's been a definite pleasure.
It's been really good. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us, Lisa, and all the very best in the thing that you can't tell us about, and the many things that you can't tell us about, but we're looking forward to hearing them eventually.
But you can tell us about when we stop recording.